Just quickly set the scene. We've just finished our morning event. We've had a 2-hour event, Wake Up to Digital. We run it every 8 weeks. Our 12 visitors have just left. But we actually ran slightly over, and we were having a conversation with our guest today, which I kind of thought it was worth continuing. So we've just very impromptu sat down with the cameras, and we're going to see if we can talk about this topic a little bit more. So one thing that I've been curious to try and understand is what we normally find we need to bring to a client's digital marketing is structure and strategy, because they've usually got that missing.
Yeah.
We talk about being visible in different channels, and we talk about 7-11-4 as a concept, and we talk about content pillars, so they get they get a consistent, repeatable approach to whatever digital marketing they're doing. With your awards and the magazine, you seem to have achieved that without that theory element. You seem to have done it naturally. Is that simply through the length of time that you've been doing it that you've learnt through, or is it your PR background that's perhaps took you in that? You're further on than well, most of the people that we speak to, and yet you didn't appear to have. Do you know
what are you saying, Steve?
Well, I think you said you never thought of it in the concept that we had on the board.
No,
this morning.
I really hadn't.
But you were doing it whilst most of the rest of the room wasn't.
Well, it seems perfectly natural to me.
Yeah,
I go right back to when I finished university and I got my first job in journalism. I found myself being a little bit bored quite quickly, and the extra bits that I was doing on the side were putting on concerts, putting on gigs. That's what I was doing. I was putting on gigs, and I got involved in the music business through that hobby, really. But I worked out then it was not enough to put a poster on a wall and expect people to turn up. So I would put the poster on the wall, but then I'd give 1,000 flyers and a big box of tickets to support bands, so that my support bands could then be be a forward-facing marketing team. But that wasn't enough as well, and the key to it was to link the marketing to the sales. So what I did with help was found cool kids and kids in schools and kids in colleges who were quite cool, and we'd give them a job as well. Everybody got a little bit got paid a bit, so then I'd have the cool kid in the school marketing this project for us. So even at that point, when I was in my very early 20s, it was obvious to me that you couldn't just rely on one thing. Since then, of course, we've got the digital revolution. I shouldn't forget, we used to fax things. I used to send faxes, and I used to send whatever else we used to do. PR, I'd always have a PR element. I'd always ring up newspapers and say, could you run a story about this? And that's another top tip, by the way. Newspapers are really easy to talk to. So in magazines, there's a fear of picking up the phone. Don't just send us an email, give us a ring, it's all right, we're nice people. So I thought it was just kind of obvious, and I don't know if that was intuitive or what it was, or just persistence or experience. But you're right, and when you put that 7-11-4 up to there, I started ticking off. Yep, I get the 7 hours.
Do it without knowing.
I get the this, and we do that, and we do it every single day. And I do have trained marketing people who work for me, so they've got it slightly differently. But it's always felt to me, well, you can't. Why would you rely on one channel?
But you've clearly got, just from what you've explained there, you've got a thoughtful, creative, analytical approach to marketing, and it seems like that's taken you towards that pattern, whereas others are perhaps more doing what the boss has told them to do, or they've not been as free thinking with it.
But I think you can train yourself to be free thinking. I don't think I've always been like this. It can occasionally take you to some places that you perhaps shouldn't go. But you've just literally got to let go. No idea is a bad idea. It's an idea. And when we brainstorm at work, if we're trying to think of a new event that we want to put on, or a new feature in our magazine, or a new way of doing a campaign on behalf of a customer, I don't know, maybe you find this, I don't know, but sometimes it's the really crummy ideas that generate the best ideas.
Yeah.
So you get the crummy idea. It looks on the face of it really daft, but if you if you go back to what was the thought that led to that idea, get back to that thought, and then re-engineer the thinking trail, then you come to something that's really interesting. And that's there's nothing more exciting than getting a gold nugget out of a bit of coal. If you don't try stuff, that's important. If you don't try stuff, how are you going to know if it's any good or not? Try some stuff. But don't expect everything to work perfectly. But that, again, it's all right. Just, the best cars in the world break down.
Yeah. Just one other topic, well, we've got here that we must ask is... do
you want a testimonial? They've been really good to work with.
We gratefully accept it. But more an insight from you, really. Which is... so we've run the event this morning with 12 people. And we regularly do that, and we have to do some prep, and we have to think about who are the right, or who would find it valuable, who's good people to have at the event, what subject matter is going to feel like a good takeaway for them, and then we've got to prep the building and so on. There's some work in that. Now, I've sat at your events where you've done the same thing with more than 1,000 people in the room you've hosted, and I just think I don't even know if you can answer this simply or not, but I just think, what's it like being Richard Slater on 1,100 people in the room night, the logistics that have gone into setting that up, the amount of networking business that's being done in there. There's other things going on parallel to the actual logistics. There's a human connecting people element to that as well, and it looks natural the way you run it, but it's got to be
one of the ways we look at that event is we've got a window between about 6 p.m. and 1:32 a.m. and we're in that room. There are 1,100 people. We've got 26 prizes to give out. The vast majority of people in that room cannot win. They're not going to win. So I have a particular way of looking at that event, and I picture myself sitting in what I consider to be the worst seat in the house, which is somewhere near the back, near the toilets, where it's a bit noisy and the people are going past. And I literally visualise what it's going to be, and they're not going to win. So I put myself there in that seat, and how do I keep them engaged for 7 hours?
How's it a great night for
6
them?
or 7 hours. And if we can make it a good night for that person, we've won. All the components have to come together. Even if you might run over a little bit, you might go a bit fast. Sometimes it's quite... I'm not quite sure if I'm getting this right with answering your question. It's about bringing people together, trusting your suppliers, trusting your own team, letting people do their jobs. So, example, I never wear headsets. So all my team comms connected. I don't comms connect. Wow. If I did, I'd hear the niggles, I'd hear the little issues. Somebody's got to take a big view. So a lot of the time at those awards, I'll do my bit on stage, then you won't see me. I'll go and sit upstairs in the balcony and watch it down below. And I'll be looking for things that other people aren't looking for. And I'll be looking for, have we got this right? Is that working? Is this working? Is that working? But I won't have the headset on because I'll just hear the traffic of 100 voices. Because on that night we have something like 260 people working for us. Somebody needs to see it from the customer's perspective. And I take that as, I think it's that's my responsibility. It's a big responsibility. There are professionals doing everything else. There are professionals doing their jobs. My in-house team, our team itself, plus all our suppliers. And let them do their jobs because they know what they're doing. And sometimes when a boss jumps in with his size 12s, it does not help. It worries people. Try and not get too bound up in the detail. Have the vision stuff, which I get assistance with that as well. It used to be that Red Rose Awards was an awful lot of it was my vision, and the structure of the event is still mine, but some of the components are brought in by my colleagues. but I still retain certain things. I want to choose the music.
Yeah.
I like to choose what the winner's going to walk up to stage with.
Yeah.
What are the presenters going to walk onto the stage with? I really like that kind of thing.
I was delighted with our music last
What
year.
did you have?
We had Jane's Addiction.
Been caught stealing.
Yeah.
What a tune, huh?
Yeah.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah, of course you can. Yeah.
So these events, I thought it was a really nice, neat event. Have you thought about translating that kind of event into a larger events with a bigger group?
Do you know what? I do wonder about that now, because we run the events for 12 people. We run strategy sessions 1-to-1 with businesses in London, Manchester, we're in Liverpool next week. And here in Lancashire, we've got the book coming out in September.
Oh, have you got a book coming out? You know about this. So when you advertise, and particularly if you're taking out sort of display ads on websites, it's not just about the click through. It's about that brand being in your face again, associated with a quality brand. We're revisiting Lancashire Business View's website because we would just want to match the content more so that people really want to be associate their brand with our content. And again you look at our magazine will sit around on people's desks. It's a bi-monthly magazine. It will sit around on people's desks for a number of months. That's why advertisers want to be part of that, because it's there and it's in the right places. And I think it comes right back to the basic ideas of marketing: audience, message, and channel. It really is not as hard as people try to dress it up. And it's a lot of, I hate to say common sense. It's only common sense if it feels like common sense to you. But it isn't as, don't overcomplicate things.
And the print, the magazine, and a book is the same. Watch what happens when it lands. You've got a new issue out now, I think. But what will happen is I'll be seeing that on Twitter. Next 3 or 4 days.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. But it's something else. It's just another story to talk about.
But our hottest time for advertising sales and editorial inquiries is in the 2 weeks after our magazine lands, because it's there, it's fresh in their eyes, and it's its own marketing tool in a way. But you've got to invest in the content. You can't, don't pretend any old book is going to work, or any old magazine content is going to work. It isn't. You've got to invest in stories appropriate to your market, and invest in the writing and the photography and the design. All that good stuff needs to be there to provide you with a platform for some kind of success, however you're going to measure it. But go back,
multi-channel
strategy with a strategy. Think about it. Don't just throw stuff around. Think about it. And if you don't know why you're doing something in marketing, you probably shouldn't be doing it.
Awesome. You've given great value, Richard, as always. And I love your events, how you bring people together. Fantastic. We'll see you again at the big one next March.
The big one next March. We've got probably 20 events between now and then. Thanks for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure. And it's kept me out of the office for a while, and I've been able to talk to cool people in a cool environment, and I've met some nice people. Thank you. Awesome.
Thank you. Right, so we'll go live with this on social now. We'll see what reaction we get. If there's any interest in more of these, we might do impromptu conversations after future events as well. We'll also put up some links to the next events that we've got coming up. I know we've got something on LinkedIn, lead generation, and we always have a Build Your Digital Strategy event not too far away. So thank you, and leave a comment with your thoughts on our conversation.